What's going on, guys? Bunks here and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about whether No Man's Sky is worth getting in 2023 if you've never played it before, or if you used to play it a few years ago, why now may be a good time to come back to the game and give it another chance. So for obvious reasons, No Man's Sky is an incredibly well-known game for both good and bad reasons. Of course, I'm referring to its abysmal launch back in 2016, mainly down to the fact that Hello Games promised all of these wonderful features upon the release of the game, which, of course, when the game was eventually released, people quickly realised so many of these features were in fact missing. It wasn't quite the space exploration game that we were all promised. In the last 7 years, Hello Games have, however, worked tirelessly on making No Man's Sky a roaring success by adding an incredible amount of content through totally free updates to make the game more closely resemble what it was initially promised, with the additions of things such as settlements, freighters, multiplayer, vastly improved graphics and textures, more in-depth base building, pets, and much more, which were notably missing from its launch in 2016. So not only that, but the No Man's Sky community is currently thriving. If you're a Reddit user like myself, there are multiple No Man's Sky based subreddits containing all sorts of weird and wonderful discoveries by other players, ranging from amazing paradise planets to super rare ships, pets, and some incredibly epic bases created by them as well, some of which I showcase through multiple videos every year. So, if you've never played No Man's Sky, or it's been at least a few years since you last played it, you still can't beat the breathtaking visuals the game has to offer, both on planet and in space. I have personally spent hours over the years just looking around and taking in the spectacular views that the game has to offer, and Hello Games are constantly rolling out visual upgrades along with their major updates. So for example, in 2022, they improved the visual appearance of asteroid fields, nebulas, space stations, the anomaly, and made improvements for planet surfaces to be fully rendered from a further away distance. So if you're playing No Man's Sky on a high-end PC or an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 with a 4K TV, you're certainly not going to be disappointed by the graphics and visuals in the game. I even love the soundtrack, which was created by 65 Days of Static, as well as some procedurally generated ambient music composed by Paul Weir, as it fits perfectly with every aspect of No Man's Sky. Touching down and stepping out of your starship onto a brand new alien planet and just marvelling at the outstanding visuals is almost worth the price of No Man's Sky in itself, and it never gets old, in my opinion. And not only that, but you have a full universe and effectively unlimited exploration potential with its 18 quintillion planets. Now, for many years the game has been described as a survival game similar to the likes of Subnautica and Ark Survival Evolved, and sure, it can be if you play in the survival or permadeath modes, but I prefer to see No Man's Sky as an exploration game, which it definitely can be if you play on creation or the normal modes, so you do get a wide variety of choice on how to experience the game. I think Hello Games have to be commended for the fact that they have added multiple huge updates to No Man's Sky every single year, and every single one of them is free to players who have already purchased the game, so of course that means if you buy it, you get all of this extra content included in the game's price. There is no doubt that 2023 will see that trend continue, as Sean Murray said there are still plenty of many weird and wonderful features they can add to the game in the future to make the experience of No Man's Sky ever greater. No Man's Sky itself really is an incredible technical achievement that just 10 years ago you wouldn't have even deemed it possible, especially considering they've released the game on the Nintendo Switch, so you can literally explore the universe from wherever you are at any given time. And even 7 years after the launch, I'm still here wondering what sort of awesome features Hello Games could add onto it next. There really is an endless amount of possibilities. A couple of the major updates that have been added to the game since its box launch in 2016 are including, but not limited to, base building, freighters and freighter bases, exocrafts, animal companions, improved space and sentinel combat, expeditions, virtual reality, an actual story which helps you get set up in the game for newbies, many additional biomes and creatures, and much more, so there isn't exactly a shortage of things to do or become an expert in the game. A special mention should go out to base building, because some of the bases created by other No Man's Sky players throughout the year are just truly amazing. The game does get regular base building updates as well, including new parts, improved base building mechanics, and so on. If you haven't done so already, you should check out some of the base showcase videos I've created in the past, just to see how amazing some of these bases really are. I'll leave a link to the playlist of that in the description below for you. With all of that said, however, it's not all singing and dancing, of course, and I'd be very biased if I didn't mention some of the issues No Man's Sky has, because after all, it's not a perfect game. Not many really are. And the first major issue to plague No Man's Sky is its lack of depth, and I have said this in past videos where I've described it as being as wide as an ocean, but as deep as a puddle. Sure, as I mentioned, there are plenty of things you can do in the game, with new features being added or existing features being improved multiple times a year, but you'll soon find yourself thinking, is that it? Take settlements for example. There are a handful of tasks you can do to improve your settlement and stop it getting into a crippling debt. You can improve the well-being of aliens at your settlement, and there will be times when you need to resolve disputes or defend it from sentinels. But that's about as far as it goes. You can't really expand it into a small city or colony and have ever-growing quests to complete as you go, and so on. Another one with a little lack of depth is freighters and frigates. You can buy frigates and send them off on missions of various difficulties to do various things where you're rewarded with some valuable resources, but again, that's about as far as it goes. You'll find that doing this becomes rather repetitive and you'll get bored of doing it pretty quickly and soon realise that you don't actually need any more of the resources you'll get after completing a few frigate expeditions in the first place. There is a recent positive, however, when it comes to freighters, and that is that Hello Games have recently expanded the freighter base building capabilities, so it has added some depth to it, but the frigate expeditions haven't really changed that much over the course of a few years. There is another gripe that I have with the game, and that is some of its repetitiveness. One example involves resource gathering, as that can be incredibly tedious. I do really enjoy base building, which I think is a fantastic area of No Man's Sky, and probably my favourite area of No Man's Sky for that matter. But in order to create an epic base, you need to gather a total shed load of resources, which is incredibly boring and can take a long time. And not to mention that if your base is big enough, you'll need to stop building many times to go gather more resources so you can then continue your base build. In fairness to Hello Games, to counter this, they did create a creative mode, so you don't need to keep resource gathering, but creative mode poses no challenges whatsoever throughout the rest of the game, so it's not really up my street. So I did mention that No Man's Sky has the potential for basically unlimited exploration, but the exploration aspect of the game is also slightly flawed in my opinion. So once you've played No Man's Sky as much as I have, you'll find that any new planet you land on is relatively similar to at least one of the other planets you visited in the past. You'll likely recognise the plant life, especially the hazardous plants, which are somehow exactly the same on every single planet in the entire universe. The knowledge stones lying around are exactly the same, and there isn't anything really worth discovering on planets that is unique or super high value to that specific planet. You'll be able to find the same handful of resources available on planets in systems very close to one another, and all the buildings are pretty much the same throughout the entire universe. Now, I really do appreciate that expanding on these aspects of the game would be technically very difficult for Hello Games to accomplish, but instead of improving what they've built, they often add new features instead, so my advice to them would be, as it has always been, look at making that puddle much deeper rather than making that ocean much wider. So, even though No Man's Sky isn't without its flaws, it still is a truly remarkable game which has unparalleled exploration potential. It gives you some of the best views in any game available right now, and it has a thriving and incredibly friendly community. And of course, Hello Games are constantly bringing out totally free updates for it and will be doing for the foreseeable future. So you can be sure something new will bring you back to the game multiple times every year. I personally find myself coming back to it after each major update, and I end up spending hours just playing it without even realising it. You can truly get yourself lost in all of its beauty for hours on end and just relax whilst playing it. No other game I've ever played allows me to do that exactly the same. So, if you're currently on the fence about whether or not to buy No Man's Sky, my advice would be to wait for the game to go on sale, as it does multiple times every year. It usually gets discounted by about 50%, and that usually ties in with a major update. I would say purchase it then. You will likely find yourself spending hours exploring the game or building some sort of epic base like I do, and just enjoying everything else it has to offer. So to round this video off, yes, No Man's Sky is definitely worth playing in 2023, and it will continue to have new awesome content updates added multiple times a year, and you will also find many opportunities throughout the year to get it at a discounted price. So I would say you should definitely give the game a chance. And after all that, I would probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. And if you're still here folks, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. I will be doing more videos like this in the future, along with videos covering all other aspects of No Man's Sky, like beginner guides, more amazing locations, glitches, update rumours, and more. So you don't want to miss out on those, right? And as always, thank you for watching, and catch you next time.